whispered something in your ear. Dun, 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 dun. It was a perverted thing to say. Dun, dun, dun. But I said it. Bismillah. Anyway. So I'm about to start recording this first episode of my podcast, but I have this crazy backache. I feel like a grandma. I look at myself and I'm like, oh, Zarin, you're 21, but you've got back pain. But oh well, it is what it is. Life can be like that sometimes. And yeah, wow, I'm really here. I'm really doing this. I'm so surprised. But yeah, anyway. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to episode 1 of This Days Between Us, the space where your girl Zarin is about to hit you with some home truths about culture, owning your voice, and becoming who you are. This episode is called Let Their Words Be Air. I know, right? What a wild title, but it's about something very real. It's about self-esteem, growth, and more importantly, how do you push past despite getting criticism? Like a heckload of criticism. How do you push forward with your goals? The easiest answer, don't. Let their words crush you. Just let their criticism form roots inside your heart. Let them make a home out of your silence. But there's no joy in that. There is no beauty in being alive but not being able to be you. So here is the harder path. The one that looks like surrender, but is anything but. Do you have it in you? Do you have it in you to trust yourself? To trust your instincts even when they shake? If you do, which I'm hoping you do, then when someone's words prick the soil of your self-belief, don't let them bury inside. Don't let them grow roots inside you, because the thing they plant in here will only choke what you're trying to become. And you deserve better than that. You deserve your growth. Let me tell you a story about how I learned to let someone's words become air. I was 17, trying to build a version of myself, and in 6th form we had these enrichment classes. You could pick up a skill, an activity, something joyful. I chose cooking because, my inner Nadia Begum just wanted to come out. And that day I made brownies. Soft, gooey, warm brownies. I offered one to a classmate. Let's call him Alex, though red flag would have suited him so much better. He took one bite and he said, you know, Zarin, your brownies, they taste like sand. Hot, burning sand. Like, he emphasized the burning on the sand. I'm like, oh, as if I didn't hear it the first time. And I just stood there because here I was prancing around like la 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 la, I can make brownies, yay. And this grown boy had the nerve to call them gritty, burning sand. And it hurt. It hurt more than I wanted to admit. 6th form changed me. I'd come from an all-girls school, a soft little bubble of sisterhood. You know when you're with your girls, they compliment you on everything, from the earrings you're wearing to your handwriting. It's so cute. No need to earn worth. We gave it freely to one another. But now, I was one of 11 girls in a class full of, I want to say 150 boys, because that to me is exactly how it seemed, because we had the 6th form center. My year alone had like a huge ton of boys. All of them just filled up the rooms. And then just us handful of girls milling around like, oh, there's a lot of boys here. So it was like, it wasn't that same soft bubble. It had now become almost like a war zone of like quiet judgments and sharp glances. And I began to shrink. I overthought every word I spoke. I felt the weight of every lost exam mark like a personal failure. And criticism, it didn't just sting, it settled. After what Alex said, I stopped talking about food. I stopped offering anything at all. I hid away because I'm like, damn, I don't want to be criticized by someone anymore. It hurts. But things began to shift in English class. I love English literature. I chose it as an A-level because it's one of my top subjects. During GCSEs, I was flying. Alhamdulillah, I was flying with that subject. And when it came to A-level, I'm like, oh, the same will happen again. I'll fly. I'm going to fly really high with this subject because I love it. And we were studying Othello, and Alex was in my class. And he was loud, confident, so articulate. He spoke about the characters like Iago with such conviction. And I felt like, damn, nothing I say is going to measure up to what this guy is saying. My points mean nothing. And, Alex, he once said to me during online learning, like, he was a keyboard warrior during online learning, and he said, Zarian, your talents seem to wash away when you enter the school. Damn. I'm like, I'm behind the screen, and this guy just tells me, your talents wash away when you enter school. And I'm there thinking, right, I have a choice. I either let him be right, or I let his words be like air, filled with nothing at all. They're just words. They don't mean anything. And he's wrong. And you know how I love English literature? I can't let him get away with that. I can't let him be the one that's top of the class. No. So I started writing. In the lesson, when Alex made his points about Iago and Othello with such confidence, such ease, I noted down the vocabulary he used. I was just sat there being the underdog in the classroom, like, I see you there. I see the smart words you use. I'm going to use the same. I'm going to use better. So I started writing every day. After school, I'd be sat in my room with my laptop getting a sample essay question on Othello, and I'd be drafting answers. And then in the morning, I'd go to school early, and anyone in my English class, I'd be like, can you read through my paragraph and tell me how this is looking? Can I improve it? Where can I improve it? And I wrote paragraph after paragraph on Othello, Desdemona, Iago. My fingers were covered in ink because I wrote a lot. I read the critics, the feminists, the Marxists. I learned the context, the theory, the subtext. And I showed up to my teacher every month with a new draft asking for feedback because I wanted to be the top. Ain't no way is a boy gonna say to me, your talents seem to wash away when you enter the school, and I let him be right. No. So then came the monumental day. Monday, the 7th of December, 2020. Our Othello mock exam. I'd learned my quotes, alhamdulillah. I'd sharpened my thoughts, I'd steadied my hand, and this time, I wasn't going to let anyone's criticism stop my pen from touching the page and let the ink dry. No. And, it's a battle. When you're in an English exam, you're at war with the paper, the time, and yourself. In the sense that there's that self-doubt rising inside you saying none of the points you're writing are any good. And then there's your hand proving that voice wrong by just writing anyway. I was at war. I was like a soldier at war with that exam sheet and the words he had said to me. I don't remember what the question on Othello was, but I do remember I wrote around 7.5 sides of A4. And my handwriting steadily became messier and messier because I was so excited. I was so engrossed in it. I wanted to write all my points. I didn't want this exam to defeat me. I was going to defeat it. And later that week, Alex came up to me in the hallway. He was like, did you know Sir has marked our papers already? You got the highest mark in the class. And I blinked like, what? No way. And then he gave me that little smile, and a few days later he said to me, for a little lark, you've done amazing. Seems like you got fire in your bones after all. And then, it tasted like a compliment. Like, oh, you've got fire in your bones, but he started off with little lark, meaning he wanted to undermine me in some way. And maybe I did have fire in my bones. I think I do have fire in my bones, because when someone tries to pull me down, I know to rise back up. I can't let them sing me, no. But the thing is, his compliment didn't feel like a prize, after everything he had said. At lunch, I told my friends about it, and one of the girls looked at me and said, Zarin, you really gonna let someone else's judgment define your success? You know how hard you worked, and it wasn't for him. And he has no clue what you put in in those hours to get that mark, to do amazing. And people's words, they come and go like the wind. Don't make someone else's approval your finish line. And she was right. Validation is a slippery thing to chase, especially from those who never wanted you to win. Maybe it's a South Asian thing, but growing up, I wasn't compared to other girls. I was actually compared to my male cousins, the ones who are doctors, engineers, investment bankers, photographers, married with kids, doing everything. And my parents, they would look at me and they'd be like, "You see what he's doing with his life? What are you doing with yours?" I don't know what I'm doing with mine. And so began this cycle of measuring myself against the men, wanting to outdo them just to feel worthy. And the pattern followed me for years, but it had to end somewhere. Pushing forward doesn't mean pretending words don't hurt. It means knowing whose words to carry and whose to be air. Let their words be air. Don't let them have substance. Let it flow out of you. In through one ear, out the other. That's what my dad always says. Someone hurts your feelings, the words go here. Oh, the words go out the other ear. So plant self-belief in yourself before someone else has the chance to. It means writing that essay, even when your head aches, even when your pen runs out of ink and you're like, I don't have any more paper to write on, because you're filled with so much goodness. Even when someone once told you your talent disappears when you enter the classroom. Still, push through. Don't let their words be the finality of you. Because you know the truth. You don't need him to tell you, or them to tell you, you've got fire in your bones. You already know it. And no one gets to take that away from you. It's all about the weight of words. And growing up since sixth form, what I've learned is, as I've stepped closer into my deen, into my Islamic faith, I've learned that there are some words which carry so much beautiful weight. They glide so smoothly off the tongue. Words like Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah. Those are my favorite words to say because they carry such beautiful weight in here. It's like when I fill my heart with good words, it's like criticism, it just doesn't have any space to fit in. Like mean, harsh criticism for no reason doesn't have any space anymore. Because I filled my heart with beautiful words instead. I've found that when I keep Allah's words in my heart, I become more resistant to giving space to the words of other people, who may not necessarily understand me, nor even try to. Remembrance of Allah becomes an armor of sorts, protective, unbreakable. There's a voice inside your body already telling you which words to keep and which words to not. Listen to it. The mind, it doesn't always have to be like a sponge, absorbing everything that comes in its path, from the trickle of someone's laughter to a conversation that stung too deep. Filter out the dust. Why remember the conversations that painted your eyes thick with tears? The voices of people who turned your world grey? Why not choose the conversations that bring your dreams colour and light, and store those in your heart instead? It's easier said than done, though. Which brings me on to story number 2, the debate club. You would have thought that me getting the highest mark in English would have cemented my confidence. Like, my confidence was here, now it's here. Unbreakable. You can't touch me. But confidence is a tricky thing. It falls apart. It can quite literally fall apart like Jenga. And then you're left trying to build it up again, wondering, how did the blocks fit before? How? And how did it take something so small to just make it smash to the ground? So, the debate club. I wanted to start a debate club because we'd had online learning, we'd had lockdown, and I like that buzz of conversation, that flow of ideas, that exchange of thoughts and things. But the teachers weren't so sure. They were like, we gotta ease into things a bit more. But they gave me a chance. One teacher in particular, she was like, Zarin, I love this idea. Let's do it. And so, at the first session of debate club, over 100 students showed up. Like, there were so many. I got told, Zarin, you just started another war here, haven't you? I'm like, I was just trying to start a debate club, but yeah, we had to move the debate to the main hall. And that day, I stood in front of everyone and I led the session in the hall. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I was small, because I wasn't just heard, I was listened to. I was kind of like the conductor of a music orchestra, but of a debate club instead. Like, you know, being like, oh, what's your point? What's your point? And like leading, being a leader, not the little lark, the leader. Whoa. But confidence, as I've said, like that Jenga block, it's fragile. It gets tested again and again. Before the second debate session, I printed out my speech. So, because debate club, it was going really popular, so we had another one. So that was the following Friday. And my speech was printed, it was in my hand, and I went to the common room. My friends were sat in one place, Alex's friends were sat like here, and Alex spotted me. I don't know how we ended up starting talking to each other, but we just did. And he was like, oh, what's that in your hand? It's my speech. He snatched it before I could stop him. He read it, he smirked, and then he laughed. Like, there's laughing because they're laughing with you, and then there's laughing like they're laughing at you. Guess what kind Alex was doing? He tore apart my speech in front of his friends, mocked my metaphors, my phrasing, my delivery, and yeah, I didn't say a word. I just stood there like, oh, I'm just getting bullied by another guy again, yay. But I was actually like, I don't know what expression was on my face, but I don't think it was a happy one. It was a neutral one where I'm like, don't say anything, Sam, just leave it. Let him do what he needs to do, because, I don't know, maybe that's just the way he is. Let him say his mean things and then it'll be over. So I took my speech back, I folded it quietly, and then I walked away. I was lucky because the period after that was a study period. I went to the library and I was frozen at the computer. Usually I know what to revise, I know what to study in my study period. That just took all my confidence away, like, oh. So the bruises in my chest, they had returned. That carefully rebuilt self-esteem, it unraveled again like threads in my hands. Then this year 8 boy, he sat next to me and he was like, oh, you do A-level maths, right? I've seen you walking around. Can you help me with my maths homework? I nodded. Yeah, sure, why not? And so we opened up Dr. Frost, you know, Dr. Frost, and we worked through some of the questions, and he got most of them right. Pretty much he got nearly all of them right. And he was a really bright student. And he pointed to the paper on my desk, and he was like, oh, is that your speech? And I was like, yeah, that's my speech. But this boy called Alex in my year, he laughed at it and he just made me want to disappear. And this kid, this really tiny kid who was just doing his maths homework, he looked at me and he said, don't listen to Alex. You're really smart and your speech is good. You're gonna do amazing. Tell me how it goes next time. Wow. His kindness, it felt like sunlight. Quiet, uncomplicated, healing. It didn't just patch up the wound. It reminded me that gentleness, it still exists in the world, and that I deserve to give it to myself. So that day, I went to debate club. The debate club that I started, and Alex was not gonna, intimidate me from going to. My speech was in my hand, my knees were shaking, my voice was slightly unsure, and there was this other voice inside my heart saying, girl, what are you doing here? You heard what Alex said, your speech is terrible, why you stood here? Just go hide somewhere. I didn't listen to that voice. It was there, and it was getting louder, but my feet were just taking me towards the front of the classroom, and I unfolded the paper, and I read my speech. At first, my voice was wobbling, and there was this silence in the room, this prickling silence, and I could feel Alex's eyes on me. But line by line, I studied. And when I finally looked up from the page, everyone was watching. Their eyes were fixed, silent, and they were listening to me. Alex was at the back. No laughter this time. Just quiet. In fact, he even had this sort of, how do I describe it? In his eyes, this look of awe. And I was like, you were saying this earlier about me, and look at me, I'm stood here reading my speech and everyone's clapping, and yeah. But the win wasn't the fact that he was looking at me in awe. The win was the fact that the silence in me had finally lifted. It was the air in my lungs, the pride in my chest, the fact that I was doing it anyway. I was reading out my speech anyway, because I knew in my gut that what I had written was good. And so, in doing this, in pushing forward despite what had been said to me and how I was made to feel really low, I decided to just let his words be air, and I spoke my words instead. So, to the girl listening right now, you're not here to be shrunk by someone else's doubt. Their words, let them drift, let them pass, let them become what they always were, air. And you, speak your own. Own your words fully, because you are never too much. You are always enough. Until next time, this was The Stays Between Us. With love, Zarin.
As long as you're with me, you'll be just fine. La 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 la. Nothing's gonna hurt you, baby. La 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 la. Nothing's gonna take you from my side.